Hey, good morning, everyone. How's it going? So you're going to go with me for a ride to work again today. Something I meant to cover yesterday, and I kind of forgot all about it. So it's 20 degrees here where I live this morning. And I've been hearing stories about, or I hear talk about this, and I've heard it for quite a while. And I just want to address it. Warming your car up, and when it's cold out, 90% of the new cars come with remote start nowadays. And I read these things and I see these videos and I hear this talk about how, from car experts, and it's unnecessary to warm your car up nowadays, they say. It hurts the motor. It creates extra wear, stuff like that. Nonsense. This van has 258,000 miles on it now. I thought it was 265. It's 258. And this is a New York van, upstate New York. And it would get really cold there. I can't tell you how many times I have started this thing in the morning and let this thing idle for hours on end. Even in the middle of summer, a lot of times, like, if I have like a long, busy day, I'll actually go in the van and take a nap in the summer, and I'll have this thing idling for 90 minutes with the AC on. Now, yes, you do waste gas. Obviously, you have to. You have an engine running, a gas internal combustion engine. It needs a fuel source. You're going to waste fuel, obviously. Yes, it does add to emissions also. But the wear and tear part, it's not like you're driving a 70 Chevy Nova inline 6 with a carburetor. The technology's come a long way. But for some reason, camshafts seem to be an issue. But wear and tear inside a motor, you will never in your lifetime experience wear due to idling your vehicle. I'm just telling you that right now. So if you want to go warm up your car and let it idle, don't listen to the naysayers that are going to sit there and tell you, oh no, don't do that. You're going to wear your motor out prematurely. No, you're not. No, you're not. Obviously, if you have issues with your vehicle, like a coolant leak or some kind of a leak, you want to pay attention to it because you don't want to let it sit there idling without you being there and all of a sudden it overheats or something like that. So, yes, you can create a problem if you're letting it idle. But like I said, most cars nowadays come with remote start. And remote start, they'll allow you to start it 2, 3, 4 times with the remote start, and the car will sit there idle for 20, 30 minutes, depending on the vehicle. So, if the manufacturers built that into the car, do you think they're that concerned about it? No, they're not that concerned about it. I actually got somebody behind me, which is kind of unusual. So that's one thing I just wanted to talk about. It just, don't worry about it. If you're going to idle your car and warm it up, go right ahead. The other thing that one article I read said was the reason you don't have to sit there and let your car idle and warm up is because cars today warm up so much faster than cars of yesterday. How'd you calculate that one? You still got an engine with a thermostat, coolant, radiator, hoses that's subject to the temperature in the air. How does the engine warm up any faster? I've seen newer cars that take forever to warm up. I've seen older cars that warm up like nothing. Like, you turn the key on, next thing you know, you got it running. 3 minutes later, it's up to full operating temperature. So I don't understand where that even comes from. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So again, you want to idle your car to warm it up in the winter? Yes, absolutely. And not for nothing, if you have below freezing temperatures outside, You don't want to just get in your car, start it up, stick it in gear, and go. Yes, you do want to let it warm up a little bit. Yes, it does help things out. And also, you don't want to romp the snot out of your vehicle right off the bat when it's cold and things haven't started moving yet. It's just like your body. You know, you got to let it warm up a little bit before you go out there and run a marathon. You know, you got to do the stretches and everything else. Your car is the same way. The van, like when it's cold out, really cold out, I get in it, and if, like within the first, I'd say half mile of driving, it's like the shocks are tight, the axles don't articulate correctly, and you get vibrations and stuff, and you can actually feel the whole vehicle shaking until the axles warm up. So, yeah. All right, so that covers that part. The next thing I wanted to talk about real quick is Made in America. Okay. And everybody's up in arms about how nothing's made in America anymore. Okay. And I agree with this. I agree 100%. Things should be made in America and not to the substandards of a lot of Chinese parts. There are some very good Chinese parts, but here's the kicker. You're paying for them. To get a good quality part that's made in China, sorry, you're paying for it. Plain and simple. Just as if you had a part made in America. You're paying for it. We've created the problem. How did we do this? Because we go on eBay, Amazon, online, and we find, I don't know, let's just say front struts. Let's find front struts for this van. And I've done this. I made a video about this. Well, let's see. A good quality brand is going to cost me, let's just use a number, $300 for a pair of good quality complete front struts. Actually, I think they were more than that. Let's go with $500. Okay, $500 for complete front struts. For the good quality ones. All right. Now, I go on eBay or Amazon. Well, heck, I can get a pair of struts for $199. You're made in China. And I did that. And I put them in here. And I also did something else, and I'm going to explain that in a second. So I put the front struts in. Fantastic. They were great. For about 6 months. Then I started to notice that the front end seemed to be a little bit lower than it should have been. I mean, the vehicle had a rake like this. And it eventually got worse. It got so bad that the front end was actually on its bump stops. Like, it sank down basically as far as the travel would go. The springs just gave way. And I made a video on this. I'll see if I can't find it to tag it. I may not tag it initially in this video, but because I got to go home and do the editing and stuff, and a lot of times I'll just publish these videos once I get to work. The ride obviously was terrible. So what I did was I bought a set of new front. I didn't buy complete struts because I couldn't find a really good pair of complete struts. So I bought a set of KYB struts, I think, or Monroes. It could have been like a good quality Monroe. I want to say they were KYBs though, like the black shock, black strut, whatever it's called. And then I bought AC Delco springs, which I honestly think they might have been made in China. But then I bought a set of good strut mounts, and then I bought the boot kit. So in the end, yeah, those struts cost me probably close to $500. And I put them in. They've been in there for 3 years now. Or 2 years. And the ride's great. And the height is the same. It's never changed. The springs will initially sink a little bit. They'll settle. And they did that. But it's been fine ever since. So lesson learned. I had already spent $200 on struts. So now those cheap struts, instead of me spending $500 initially, now they cost me $700 because of the $200 I had to spend, plus the extra labor of doing the job twice. The thing is, to get the parts in America, yes, it costs more. It costs more for manufacturing and everything else. Because to manufacture a quality product and to pay a person a reasonable wage to make the quality product cost money. So we are to blame for the influx of everything being made in China because we don't want to spend the money to buy the quality part. And I understand some people can't afford to. I understand there's budgets and everything else. I get it. I totally understand. I'm just saying, if you look at the big picture, that's what happened. Make sure the microphone's still there. That's what happened. That's what created this, is everybody looking to buy cheap stuff. And be careful too. And I've mentioned this in the past. A buddy of mine, without thinking, he was looking for a set of injectors for a Cummins diesel. The ones that have to be coated when you install them. I think they were $1,000 a piece for these injectors. Times 6. That's a big chunk of change. Well, guess what? He found on eBay or Amazon or one of those places. Trust me, I shop on Amazon all the time. And I shop on eBay too. He found a set of 6 injectors, brand new Cummins injectors, for $1,000. He installed them. They work great. 3 months later, truck is dumping fuel on one cylinder. Bad injector. Well, shoot, now he has to get an injector. He found a rebuilder, or found a rebuilt injector, and I still think it was $600, but I'm not sure. He installed that. Shortly thereafter, another injector went out. Shortly after that, another injector went. At the end, he wound up having to replace all 6 injectors. So, job done twice, and it created a bunch of problems in the meantime. And if you have an injector that's dumping, you can destroy the motor because you're going to hydrolock the motor, or you can. It didn't happen to this Cummins, but it can happen. So it's just something to keep in mind. I think that kind of covers it. I thought there was one other thing I wanted to quickly discuss. And now I cannot for the life of me think about it, or think of what it was. Oh, that's what it was. Remember I said I did it again. Yeah. So the van here, I had a weird noise out of it over the last couple of days. And it was almost like a dull rattle. And I really thought that I had a belt tensioner going bad. Not the pulley part, but the actual tensioning part of the belt tensioner. I've seen those where they seize up and they create almost like a bass guitar type of type noise. Like, you ever see the string on a bass guitar get pulled and it like does that? The belt will do that and create a noise. And that's what I thought it was. So now if you go back, you recall I put motor mounts in this. And I bought motor mounts off of Amazon. And I bought a kit, all 4 mounts. And I believe they were supposed to be Anchor, but no, I'm not sure. They might have been something else. I think they might have been in a blue. I'll actually have to look at the video to make sure. Well, guess what? I put this thing up on a lift yesterday. The rear mount, or right side mount, the one closest to the steering rack and firewall, cracked. The one up by the radiator is completely flat. The bolt that goes through the mount, excuse me, the bolt that goes through the mount is basically all the way down at the base of the mount. Like the weight of the motor has crushed the mount. So, guess what job I get to do again eventually? I'm not going to do it now because it's I know what the problem is, so I'm just going to leave it alone for now. But yeah, it's there again. I went and I figured they're motor mounts. They're motor mounts. How bad could they possibly be? Well, I didn't even get a year out of them. And they're already flat and cracked. So, there again, I was looking to save a couple of bucks. I'm not going to save a couple of bucks because now I got to do the job again. But anyway, so that's about it. I don't even know how long have I been on this. 15 minutes, 16 minutes. I started the video late only because it was too dark for you to even see me when I first started driving. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. I just wanted to go over that with you. I thought that'd be interesting and a good talking point. And hey, you got to ride with me to work for a little bit. Got my breakfast right here. It's one of those like meal replacement type shakes. It's a protein shake. So, but anyway, in case you're wondering, I think it's Quest. I'm not even sure. I buy this big gigantic jug and I just make one of those every morning. And I actually have another one without the liquid in it for lunch today. Oh, and then tonight I'm going to go to the shooting range. I got my pistols with me. I figured there's a shooting range near my job. I've never been there before, and I kind of want to join them. So I figured tonight would be a good time to go over there because they're open till 9 o'clock tonight. So I should have some fun there. Anyway, that's about it. All right, guys. Hope you get something out of my videos. If you do, hit that like button. If you could, please subscribe. And if you notice down in the description, I do have links to Amazon products that I personally use. I would appreciate it if you guys could go down there and give them a click. I'm not asking you to buy anything, but if you could just at least give it a click and just see what's there. The clicks actually do help me. So, all right. There again, I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you for going with me for part of my ride. And that's about it. Have a great day. Keep wrenching.